When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Santan.
I've started recording just now. So yeah, if I don't know if you want to go over anything, yes, before we.
I think just make it conversational. I think even make light of the fact that we're all knackered after a season. Yeah, let me just have a little look at the thing again. I think obviously touch on FA Cup because it matters. We all seem to get a good look at the Bayern game now, so might as well go into that. I think the actual preview is almost like
nobody cares.
Nobody
cares unless we come back. No one.
But even then, it's like we'll get into it.
Yeah.
And then after that, like all them reports, I don't know, all those reports are just bait, but they're at least a discussion. The whole like selling 7 players, 8 players, right.
Yeah, 10 players.
And I do want to touch on us in Europe, but I think that's more a Patreon pod, to be honest. But we'll touch on it.
Okay.
We'll touch on it. But yeah, that's it really.
Coolio.
I'm promoting Courtside Fracas though. I ain't care.
Of course, it's part of it.
I put too much organizational effort into that with Moreo to not.
I fucking love it though, man. And the way you came out with that, because we've been struggling with kind of like visuals and that type of stuff. So when you just dropped it in there, all of us was like, "What the fuck?" You know, the Courtside.
What do you mean?
Just like the fact that you did it, we all felt like waste, man. We was like, "Alright, Yas just decided to sit down and create this out of nowhere." And we've been twiddling our thumbs. We could have done.
I've never ever done anything like it, but I looked at the intro and my brother has taught me basics of Photoshop. So I was like, I can't be that. I'll just do it. And we were desperate as well. So like, desperation causes necessity, innit? Like we recorded it and it was like, I don't know if it was Maria gave the option and Harold wanted to put it out without any intro. And I was like, that looked awful.
Yeah, Mariah said it was dead as well. Because I was like, just drop it. I was like, because I'm a person, I don't mind a little bit of rough at the beginning.
Yeah. I wanted to just something, even if it was crap, just something.
No, it was sick though.
We'll probably get took down for the copyright on the song, but I don't know how all that stuff works. So yeah,
should be good.
That's my second ever Photoshop project ever.
I know. I seen the first one, the hour rank, the Chessy hour power rankings.
No, that was just PowerPoint messing about. My first one was that ASP thing that I put in the group.
Okay.
That was my first ever Photoshop project, and that Courtside was the second ever.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said it was sick, bro. Like when he said it, and it just came out of the blue, and I was like, "What the fuck?" And I had to come to your props straight away.
I need to crack on with that stuff though, because it's good. It's cool to learn how that all.
A new skill, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, do you want to crack on?
Yeah, man.
Well, let's go.
Cool.
What's happening, everyone? Welcome to another edition of Chessy Hour. Myself, Yassine James. This week, I am joined by Jermaine. What's going on, my guy?
What's going on, brother? All good, man. All good.
All good. Dan Soft, the soft light himself.
The soft light. Where did this name come from, and what does it even
I don't even know. I think Joe came out of it because you put people under immense scrutiny.
I hear this. For me, I'm just asking questions. You know what I mean? I don't understand.
You ask a lot of questions at once. So even if they had the answer to 2 or 3, they don't have the answer to all 6 or 7.
Have you felt the soft light?
I don't think I've felt the soft light.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. There is no soft light.
I don't think I've felt like I'm in any danger of being brought into court by Pels either. So I feel pretty. I don't know. Maybe it's the host. I just keep neutral. I don't know.
Cool. So you gotta go. You gotta go on the court of agenda next, since you're so.
I don't know what they could pin me. I'm like a Teflon. I don't know what you can get me in court for, to be fair. But yeah, we'll see if Pels can come up with something. Another week, a lot to discuss. Although, I mean, we're all very fatigued after a long season, so I can't imagine how the players feel. As I told you lot this morning. This afternoon even, we just launched Courtside Fracas, forayed into the basketball world, over on the other side of the sporting spectrum. And since that FA Cup final full-time whistle, I haven't even thought about football, partly out of just sadness and bitterness, partly because
what FA Cup, bro?
What FA Cup?
Yeah.
Like, it's not really real. Asterisk Cup. But yeah. So I've been out of the game for a while. So tonight's been quite good, to be fair, to just get myself back into what's been happening and everything like that. And I feel like it's probably best to get that out of the way before we get into more upcoming matters. FA Cup final. Jermaine, I'm not trying to be funny, but I feel like a lot of what we discussed on the Patreon podcast and tactical preview was exactly how we got battered for the first 30 minutes.
Mate, I don't even like to think about it because I feel like the fact that we kind of predicted what was going to happen, and then for the professionals themselves, not even to kind of like get a sniff of what's going to happen, it's just disappointing. I think that's the only word I can use for it at the moment. It's like, it was just disappointing to see that not only did they not even anticipate it happening, but they didn't even react to like quick enough when it was happening during the game.
But I think this is a problem in that I don't know if they didn't notice it. I'll be honest. I might be in my coaching club now, but I'm not. Like, we got to assume that people at that level of the game see the basic things in that Arsenal only have a long ball and they spray it to their wide forwards and try getting 1v1, getting like, you assume they've seen that. So my issue more is, if you know that, not only do you still try and play maybe 20, 15 yards higher than you need to, but you still do it a goal up. So we've nicked one, lovely goal. Giroud's taken Luis on a walk, lovely little outside of the boot to Pulisic, great feet to dance through. And I'm in the sky. My missus is a gooner. I'm screaming in her face. She's fuming. And then I feel like we just didn't have any kind of sense to settle the game down at all, and we let them really, really, really get into it. In the preview, I wrote that I'm confident of dealing with that long ball as long as Zuma goes over and helps a little bit, or Jorginho or Kovacic are kind of asked to drop the side of the ball being sprayed. But it seemed 1v1 like 6 times in the first 25 minutes. Is that just... We keep using the word naivety, but it's August.
So do we give credit, though? Because I watched the game again, and I think we dominated the first quarter. We use Court South Africa terms.
I feel like that, yeah.
Right. So, like, I think we dominated that thing. And do we not give credit? Because both management teams went away and done their homework. And it seems like Lampard's homework showed out in that first 25 minutes. So for when I'm watching it, I'm thinking, okay, cool. Lampard doesn't have to react in the first 25 minutes because we're dominating the game. It's after the drinks break where I think what you said in the preview. And don't forget, listen, Mead has been saying all season, they listen to Chessy Hour. So they've got no excuses, all right? You guys laid it out for them. They've got no excuses. But it seemed like after the drinks break, Arteta got onto them and said, listen, do the long balls in the channel. So I don't think there was that many long balls before then. I don't think there was many long balls before the drinks break. It was after the drinks break that all of a sudden they're popping it out. Tierney's just popping it long. Obba's making all of our players injured and they're stretching Aspi and all that type of stuff. So for what, I don't know exactly how it panned out, but I think Lampard won that first quarter. But what
I think you're right in that. Yeah, I agree. I think he matched up well. I think he got Pulisic and Mount really close to Giroud, which is great.
They couldn't handle it.
But games aren't 18 minutes. This is the thing. There needs to be a lot of what if. There needs to be of if we score, then this. And it seems like, and this is a problem for us in general, I think. And we are going to do a bigger review on Lampard in general next week. But I do feel like a lot of games we just have one way and we're going to do that. And the game state doesn't matter. But goals change everything. So as soon as we score, they're going to react to that. So if you've gone in expecting a certain thing and a plan for that, now they've changed, what if?
So let me come in there. And you know that I'm not like Lampard's lawyer.
No,
right?
it's a good point because that's the tough part of management because you're dealing with, you like, oh mate, you set up for a game and boom, cool, we've gone through this drill, whatever. You show up and then they're playing a completely different system. Like that's the tough part. But I just feel like in a final, you've got that advantage. I don't feel like we at any point after that goal tried to slow it down. It was early, I'll give them that. But at the same time...
So we could have scored a second goal playing the same way. Like, do you know what I mean? It's easy to say...
Hold on, but if we've scored one, they've reacted. So 100%. If we're doing the same thing and then they've changed...
yes, listen, we've seen Bayern Munich and Liverpool, and we've seen them score 3 goals in quick succession doing the same tactics. Do you know what I mean? So, like, how do you know that? Okay, obviously the drinks break came and Arteta could have changed it. But if there was no drinks break, we could have scored 3. We could have dominated. Do you know what I'm saying? It's difficult to say.
I hear that. I think the difficulty is, it can go either way. There's so many ifs and buts and maybes and this, that, and the other. I think if Arteta had started playing through Laka and done something novel that wasn't what they've shown for 6 weeks as their way to score, I would have been a lot less bothered about it. But then when you're seeing Aspi v Orba 1v1 and Rudiger v Pepe 1v1 from early, because there was an early challenge where it was a good challenge, but he went to ground early, got a bit of a lucky bounce. He just looked exposed very, very quick.
So they scored, their goal against Man City was exactly the same.
Yeah.
Like,
their goal, bro, every attack
the ball over
exactly
the top,
for 5 games.
ball over the top to Aubameyang, and it'll come from Tierney as well. And the thing is, Tierney is at certain times in that game, he was playing left wing back better than Alonso was playing left wing back.
Yeah, and he was playing in the free.
Didn't he even playing there, bro? This is why I said, that flank is going to be so mad for us.
Okay.
Like, we need to get it under control because James couldn't get forward because of that reason.
Yeah,
because he was coming out and playing basically wing back, and then Niles was pushing so far forward.
It's the classic thing. And to be fair, this is relevant for the Bayern game later.
Exactly,
I think,
it's mad relevant.
It's everyone can undo everything, everyone can counter everything tactically, this, that, and the other. But you need to have a combination of the quality and the bravery to be willing to pin those players back. And I feel like, at least for the left side, Arsenal had that confidence in, we're just going to go
for it.
And stop them. And
we've got Spanish fullbacks and we got Spanish wing backs and shit like that. I'm sorry, like, Kryptonite is their PMP. Like, what do you expect? Do you know what I mean? We see that we're going to get to Bayern Munich, but, like, I hear you. Like, Lampard should have tried to work on it. But look, refresh my memories. But in the previews, how do you stop that? So we know how Arsenal plays.
I was gonna say that as well. I think there's a part of it as well that just comes down strictly to the personnel as well. Because at the end of the day, whatever you tell Aspi to do in terms of changing his game, like unless you're gonna change formation, Aspi's gonna struggle.
But you know what though? But you know what? Like, even you're right, but that's why you have 2. So Aspi's gone out there 1v1 really tight. But there's 2 things wrong with it. Number 1, it's 1v1. Yeah. So if there's a touch in behind, he's gone. Number 2, what I was actually surprised by is he didn't even get done by pace by Aubameyang. He got done by fundamentals in that the ball's in the air, his body position's all over the place. He's going tight to a player who's taller, probably better in the air, quicker. And it's like, just if you're by yourself, just delay that. Just 5 yards, 7 yards. So I think, look, Lampard had a way he wanted to play. He wanted to play high. He wanted to press. With that, he took a risk that he was going to go 1v1 with them people. Personally, and this is just me, I would have been really, really conservative early. Yes, we got the goal. I appreciate that. But Arsenal don't have a lot of ideas. So I think if they, like, Lacazette doesn't get too involved in their play. Ceballos plays nice football, but he's not that penetrative. Xhaka is just there for jokes. Like, if they get frustrated, I don't see what else they would have had. I felt like we just invited the long ball too easily. And I think we gave the space for the long ball. And they, to be crediting them appropriately, the one thing I think we did identify that they are very, very good at is they're very good at getting narrow with the 3. And after our goal, their back 3 gave up nothing all game, which, I don't want to attribute blame. It's just credit to them. I think they're very good. But also, they're very good at constricting the midfield. So, also, just for whatever reason, Giroud had his worst day ever with things actually sticking and touches and stuff. So nothing really got there, bypassed anything.
I think at the beginning of the game, things were sticking. Like, obviously, we scored the goal from that. We saw Mount getting chances from it. But I think just after the drinks break, I was looking, because it's almost like a timeout type of situation. And I think he said to Louise, like, because I don't know if you remember, straight after the drinks break, Giroud's on the floor for a while and he's crying because he's been elbowed. And I think he said to Luis, look, you're letting him get away with it. So I think Luis got a lot rougher and he started basically fouling him. But he was kind of...
And he's got that in his locker. And he's got that in his locker, Luis.
This is one of the things that we talked about as well, in the write-up in particular, is I was just like, the final could get decided partly on just whether Luis will lose Giroud for everything or whether he won't let him get away with anything, partly. And he didn't, and he had his usual big game self, apart from slightly for the goal. And I'll be honest, I don't mean to get all Raymond Verheyen about it, but I don't think we looked particularly quick. Having 2 bust-up hamstrings in the same 90 from very durable players was a bit strange. Like I acknowledge that they got played a lot of minutes, so it could just be muscles doing what muscles do. But after 7 days to prep for a game, no game in between, I don't know, man. Like, I don't want to get all accusatory, but you wonder. 2 massive muscle injuries in a game. You've had 7 days. They didn't look too bright at times. They didn't age well in the game. I think they tired quite quickly. You wonder if maybe the preparation was entirely right. I think Arsenal played generally a less intensive game anyway, so they were probably able to just last a little bit longer throughout the halves. I think we just got done, to be honest, and there was shades of Derby Villa, and there was shades of a lot of our losses, really. And we have the better of play until we get punched in the mouth, and then we're on the floor crying. And it's
well, I think what you said, just in terms of maybe we should have gone in more patient, but I think one thing that you don't kind of associate with Lampard is patience. And like we know that from the whole season, it's like he's been saying intensity. I'm going to need him to run. These are the type of words that he's been saying over and over again. And you can talk about the amount of games we've played, but we're not the only team to play so many games. You know what I mean? So, and we've been clocking up injuries all season. So, there is something in it. And again, it's just like the Bayern Munich match. I know we're going to come onto it, but it just feels like in these type of big games, you can't try to win it in the first 5 minutes. The fact that I saw Rudiger pressing the goalkeeper.
He pressed Pepe, but he followed him to the 18-yard box in the first half. I was thinking, no wonder he likes him, fam. We're all here wondering why he's not on the chopping block. Well,
Pepe almost lost the ball as well, I say.
It might have come good, but it's like, I always remember what Mourinho said at the Man United game when we lost 4-0, I think it was. And he said, you can, in possession, you can press high, but you always have to think about, okay, what if you lose possession? And I think that FA Cup final basically echoed that. Don't forget, this is the bookend of the season. And that was a lesson that Mourinho said at the front end of the season. And again, it's just like, we've conceded the most goals in terms of transition as well. And it's like, is this something that's going to be fixed for next season? Because you can buy all the players you want, but these are like fundamentals in terms of...
Sorry, Jermaine, go on.
Sorry, yes. It's part of the game for me this season that seems so weird though, because you watch games like City, and I know like they never had their top striker playing, and probably like for the defenders it was a bit of an easier way to mark in terms of, you know, the Sterlings, and that it was probably a little bit easier for them to mark those kind of players. But against City, they can play and be so compact and so they can concentrate for such large periods of the game, but then you'll be dominating a game, winning a game even, and then when you need to do those things, you can't do it. And I haven't been able to get my head around that, because I don't understand how you can do it for a whole 90.
I get it, because I feel like when I watched the City game, and you guys can echo in, it almost felt like, do you remember when we lost against City 6-0 and we had to play them really quickly after that?
In the League Cup, right?
Yeah, but then there was the respect that this is City there, so we're not going to fly forward. And we haven't seen that many times under Lampard, that respect. And
it was shocking when it happened. It was
we but you're right though, because why have we only shown that respect to City? We haven't really shown that to Liverpool. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've gone toe to toe. So it's difficult to understand. We didn't show it to Bayern as much. So it's difficult to understand when we're picking and choosing when to kind of...
I think this is something that will sum Lampard up, to be honest. And I think it's not so much a criticism that I'm saying, it's just a characteristic in that he probably isn't. I mean, he's learning. Obviously, he is a younger manager than Mason Mount is a player in terms of actual seasons playing as a pro and that. But he is very characteristic that he wants to be on the front foot and he wants to be proactive and he wants to do this, that, and the other. And he doesn't seem maybe as concerned with the opposition directly. He doesn't seem to nullify stuff and really zone in on things. He just wants to, we go out there, do our thing, we play our way, take care of ourselves, which I get it. It's cool. It's your attitude. But if I'm completely honest, I don't think, especially with the players we have, is the attitude that is going to win you anything, if I'm honest. And it's so frustrating because, again, like, look at the teams we came through in the FA Cup. Leicester, United, Liverpool. Now, okay, Leicester, United, there's debate. The Premier League tells you that those teams are better than who we lost to in the final. Yeah. And again, you want to talk about respect and setup and place on the pitch. If we play with the same average sort of position as against United, I think that Arsenal game comes out completely different. Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's a final, boys, go out, show you deserve to bring it home, but I didn't see Daniel James getting behind like I saw Aubameyang getting behind. I didn't see Martial or whoever. Like, we were really compact, we were deep, and then once we got the second with the goal, that didn't change massively.
I think perhaps just because Ole beat him 3 times already, that respect came. I mean, I'm not going to lose again. But then where does that come into the final where I'm not going to lose a final?
Isn't the final? And the thing is, I'm not for a second suggesting Lampard doesn't know this because he's won a lot more finals than me. Yeah. But you don't, I almost feel like you don't win finals, you lose finals, right? A final is partly about being in it until you can't be anymore, right? If you look at I don't know, Brentford Fulham the other day, right? Extra time, and Brentford lost that final. They lost that playoff final by not being awake at a set piece, and then game's gone. They've lost it now because they've let it slip. Whereas I think with us, we were very quick to concede the equaliser and just didn't give Arsenal that feeling of we're behind in a final and we're losing it here.
So remind me though, because I remember again breaking down the game, second half, we started stronger, so there was that chance that obviously Pulisic went through and got injured. But I remember there was another chance. I think we started to do long balls. I think it just became, I know you're talking about new age Lampard managers, but it just became long balls both kind of ways. And like Pulisic was getting in behind. And yeah, that's why the injuries kind of happened, because our guys couldn't sustain like the quick kind of transition of the ball. But I think, again, we dominated that first bit of the first half. So whatever changes Lampard done, again, I'll give him credit because we dominated it. But then obviously, unfortunately, Pulisic gets injured. Yeah. And then obviously, not long after, Kovacic gets a red card. I'm not sure. Did the goal come before or after Kovacic's red card?
It come before, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the second yellow is what killed just any hope of it. I mean, to be fair, we've gone through this whole thing and not talked about Anthony Taylor. And I put out a tweet on the Chessy account at halftime saying, listen, Anthony Taylor is the worst referee in the Premier League. His influence on this game is not finished because he is fucking awful. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, even apart from the red, did we deserve to really win? No, probably not. And the injuries, it's not ideal. And then the Pedro sub was an interesting one, as much as I am not part of like the Hudson-Odoi must play at all costs group.
Who is part of that group, bro? Who is part of that group?
Mr. Middleton and Mr. Softlight, I believe, are part of that group. And Jermaine likes to dip his toe in the water, and Pels just doesn't understand that football is a business. It's nice. He's young. He still has the beauty in his heart.
Wow. I'm not going to patronise Pels right now, bro.
But I know he's going to rage when he hears this, so it's great. But yeah, that was a strange one as well. And like, I know I was the only one. I got battered for this on Twitter. People on Twitter were like, I don't care. Why do you care? But if I'm Roma, I'm thinking, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Pedro fully said before he signed, I don't really want to sign because I have a move. When he did play against Leicester, he didn't look like he really wanted to do anything. You've given him his send-off. He's been a really good servant, hard worker. I hear that.
Yeah.
Don't play him in a fucking cup final. Like, what are you doing? He was bright when he came on, by the way. Like, he was okay, but it was bizarre. It was bizarre. Like, and again, like, you're not. I'm a big Pedro guy, to be honest. I really like Pedro, but I did raise an eyebrow there and just think, yeah. Hudson-Odoi is another topic, and we all kind of agreed in the initial podcast after the incident during lockdown that he probably wouldn't play again this season. But I don't know. I just found that a bit of a strange one. And then, but then there's other factors. There's the Willian Arsenal issue. There's Pulisic going off. Of course, like, you don't really plan for those.
Second yellow. It's a lot to manage, and I don't necessarily think the game got away from him. This way we've seen it get away from him in times like Bayern Munich or not.
No,
him.
I think it was a lot tighter of an affair than those. Yeah. And then on those cards, like, that's just, it was the little things as well. Taylor seemed to just give every little thing. He got a bit overawed. Not only is the second yellow a foul on Kovacic, if it's a foul at all, I don't particularly think it was a card either way. But the first one's harsh as well, and a bit of a let me stamp my authority on the game. But at the end of the day, I don't think it was managed particularly well, and I think Arteta, having watched Arsenal so much for that preview that I wrote up for the Patreon, I hated watching them. I thought they played disgusting football. It made me ill. But I came away from it really rating Arteta as a coach. I don't think their squad is good, and I think he's got massive buy-in from people like Aubameyang and Pepe to work hard. I think their pressing is really, really, really well organised. And I think going off drinks break, your point, I think he is probably a lot more alert and attuned to making in-game 100%. Little adjustments.
And just in the drinks break, like, he had that kind of magnetism from the players, like what he's going to say is going to change it for us, that belief. And we've seen so many times during the season when we go a goal down, like, we kind of panic. There was we've seen it not just now, but they went a goal down. They went a man down in the reverse game when Arteta came in. They didn't panic. Again, they went a goal down in the final. They didn't panic. And I just feel like he's got this kind of assured nature, like, just believe in what we're doing and it will eventually come through. And he said himself that, I don't have the players now, but I'm willing to shift to do what needs to be done. And don't forget, just before Arteta went to Arsenal, we played Man City in that game where we started really well. If we talk about and we mirror it to this Arsenal final, we started really well, but then City made some in-game changes, and then City kind of took over. Now, I'm not saying that was Arteta. I'm not saying
of course, but he's part of a coaching setup that is very tactics focused. Do a lot of research on the opposition, are obsessive. Whereas then I don't know the inner workings of the club, but Spygate last year, Bielsa going into those depths, and Lampard was a bit like, we do analysis too, and almost was a bit bitter about that much detail being done. And also, like, we'll see. I think it's been a massive learning season for Lampard, and I think we will get onto that next week.
Just quickly on that, just last point. I think maybe him seeing in that City game, him seeing Chelsea go ahead and just knowing that, look, listen, with tweaks we can win it. We saw it in the Arsenal game, going ahead, and obviously a man down, with tweaks we can win it. So in the Arsenal game, 1-0 down, of course they're going to believe that they can come back. And I just feel like we need to do more to have a bit more of that when we go down. And that's
well, this is a bit of a concern of mine. I don't disagree with Lampard, but I hope that it's one thing in public and another in private, in that after the FA Cup final, he's very much talking about individual errors. And other games after losses, he's talking about individual errors. Now, I don't disagree with him. Rudiger for the second goal is one of, even for Rudiger, that's on a highlight reel, right? Like, it's diving in at near enough the halfway line on a player who's not really going anywhere if you stand him up. Like, yes, individual error. I know there was a big debate about Zuma. I don't think that was particularly an individual error. I think it's just 1v1 in the box with a marksman. You know, it's tough. But then as Azpilicueta, again, individual error. Like, I'm not ruling those out. They are individual errors, but there are ways that you can set a team up to limit them, right? And so I am hoping, if I'm completely honest with Lampard, I'll talk about this again, but I think he is idealistic / naive / ballsy / brave, whether you want to be positive or negative about it. I think he sets up in a team where he really relies on top quality players at the back to bail out any counters. And if they don't, we're in trouble, because I think he trusts them a lot to do their job. Which, listen, that's a hallmark of coaches like Pep. That's a hallmark of some really great coaches, but you're not coaching an idea, you're coaching who's in front of you. And if we don't have the players to deal with that right now, is it the best thing for right now? That's my only thing.
And I remember a video of Pep talking. Don't forget, when Pep first came in, everyone was expecting the world in his first season. But he struggled for a while. And I remember a Sky Sports interview, and one of the things he struggled with was with transitions, and he just didn't know kind of how to deal with it. And I remember Klopp saying the same thing. It's so difficult. These are two top managers coming in. So there's a little bit he's a new manager, but also he's new at this level in the Premier League. And so, like, a lot of managers are facing this. But I agree with you, Yas, in terms of this kind of, it feels like he constantly points the fingers at the players. And for me, I just like the idea is win as a team, kind of lose as a team. So if you're going to point your finger at the players in public, and also kind of talk about, I could have done better. That's just kind of what I get from it. It's like every single time it's like, yeah, they should have done this, they should have done that. And maybe it's just me, but it feels like a lot of time he points the fingers at players. Now, if I'm in his camp and I keep on seeing him pointing at we're passing it side to side and we're doing that, it's gonna like kind of dishearten me. It's gonna feel like he's not in it with me. He's not in the trenches with me. I don't know how you guys feel.
I think with Lampard as well, like just going back to what we were talking about with the whole how like Arteta changed the game, like in-game management and all that. With Lampard, it feels like often as well, what he's relying on is the team getting their energy back. And I know we said, in the second half, we come out and we were good again for like 10, 15 minutes. Yeah. But it often looks like we're good because we've had a little breather now. We've got the energy back. So we can play that high energy. We can play that high energy football. We can play that pressing game that he loves so much. But then as soon as they get tired, then it just falls to pieces again. Do you get what I'm saying? And that was in the first half of the season. I remember that happened so many times. First half, we played a crazy, like, high energy game, high intensity. Second half, the team's so fresh, like, because they haven't, run themselves into the ground as much as we have. And because Lampard's idea is like the same, it's still the same idea, it's still the same tactics. Nothing's changed. It's just that we ain't got the energy to do the same things that he wants us to do. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? So after the drinks break, we come out, we might look bright for 5-10 minutes, but then energy's gone again.
You're saying what Yas is saying in terms of there should be like states prepared. You can't do the whole thing through the
You can't, man. Yeah, you can't. And I think as well, the counter argument to this from people who will say that we're Lampard hating or whatever. I'm not. I really want him to do well, and I acknowledge that all these things I'm talking about are just observations of someone who's new in the job, right? Yeah. But I think what the counter argument to what we're saying might be on the individual errors and the expecting defenders to be able to defend in large spaces is he might turn around and say, maybe rightly, that this isn't the Chelsea I recognise where we're having to scrap for top four and play Europa League football. So he might argue that he is just setting standards where if you don't meet them, you aren't meant to be at the club that he's trying to build. Now, that kind of takes me into the next chat. I don't think that is all of it, but it's this sort of transfer chop block that seems to have a lot of players on it. So without getting into the sort of the ins and outs, what I'm going to do is there was a report in the Times that listed sort of 7-8 players. And I'm just going to ask you lot, fight amongst it. Do you sell them? Do you keep them? Or do you sell someone else in their position?
Can I ask a question? I know that.
Yeah.
Can I put a soft light on? Can I put a soft light?
You can put the soft light on, yeah.
I want to see if you get it. No, basically, I just want clarification. Am I talking about what I would do, or is this in the interest of how Lampard would act with these players?
All right. The answer to that is based on the answer to this.
Okay.
Do you want to be able to say you were right in 9 months, or do you want Chelsea to win football matches?
I want Chelsea to win football matches.
Then it's in the interest of Lampard. Then it's in the interest of Lampard. Because I'd answer the first one for the first reason, if I'm honest. But yeah. Okay. I'm going to start with an easy one. Just a little warm up. Yeah. Open the gates. Yeah, little hamstring stretch.
Right.
Timmy Bakayoko.
Sell. Of
Yeah,
course.
sell him.
I don't
Okay, but are you expecting anything back? Like, who's linked?
Like Milan are still linked.
Yeah,
20
but
mil,
I saw a report today that whoever it is, I think it is Milan, are going to wait till the end of the window because they know
Yeah.
there is no market for the guy.
Yeah.
So what are we getting back for Timmy Bakayoko?
Fuck all probably, but just
Nah.
sell him.
Nah, you know what? Don't forget
But we don't sell him if we get fuck all back.
Yeah,
Nah,
exactly.
Just sell him. Just sell him for whatever,
Which is
bro.
why we've got Marina and not Jermaine. All right, cool.
You know what? Listen, if Jermaine was in charge, there would be players sold and then re-signed in the same window.
Yes, 100%.
100%.
We've seen it. We've seen it.
Hey, listen. Nah, but seriously though, he needs to go because what are you keeping him for?
Of course he needs to go. That's why it's an easy one. Jermaine, this is just a little calf
This is
stretch.
the follow-up question. It's the follow-up question is how much do we really think reasonably we can get for him? And I'd say, don't forget, we bought him for 40 million. He's not an old player. He did well at Milan. He actually did well at Milan. Yes, there's no other interest, but I'm sure that like the more we lower the price, more people are going to be involved. And he won't mind going to like an English club that have just come out like Leeds. So I definitely think we can get 10, 15 million for him.
Yeah, I reckon so. I think Milan will buy it though.
That's a heavy loss.
I think Milan will buy it though.
It's a heavy
Listen, throw some bonuses on there, please, because that is a heavy loss. But okay, easy one. Warm up. I'm a bit wary of the soft light, so I might put some shades on now. But Mr.
SpongeBob
could have represented Nigeria in another life. Dan probably would have liked it if he did represent Nigeria in another life. Mr. Ross Barkley.
Ross Barkley, we got to sell him, but everybody knows my position on Ross Barkley. Ross the boss. I feel like I just want him to get loads of games because don't forget, he's only started like 15 games, but he's done well. He's got like 4 assists, 2 goals. He's come in I think he started the season well. People forgot. Again, at the back end of the season, he came in, showed what he's about. But at the same time, look, he's just Chelsea fans don't rate him. Lampard kind of tosses him to the side whenever
someone else is fit or is it?
Yeah. So yeah, let's sell.
Jermaine, are you also on the sell Ross, let Ross flourish, or would you keep him around?
Yeah, I think sell him more so for the fact that I think you'll actually get some good P for him, like especially from some of the performances that he's had for us recently.
Is he gonna drop Europa League, mid-table, or further down?
I don't think he goes any lower than Europa League. I don't think mid-table. I think that's harsh. I think Ross Barkley...
But it's not just, quality of the player, but in terms of who those clubs are.
Who goes for him, yeah. I think... Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I'll say?
Mid-table, probably.
What I'll say is what we do so often is that we lower the value of all of our players so much that, they usually go to clubs that they shouldn't really be at when they leave Chelsea if they're not a starter. And then they get a big move off the next move. So, like the market for Ross Barkley, even though he's an England international, don't forget, with Grealish, with Maddison, with all of these, it's still Barkley that starts. And not only Barkley that starts, he's playing well. He's usually England's best midfielder. So, there will be a market, but it seems like West Ham, just because that's Moyes' boy, and obviously we're interested in Rice. So, yeah.
The thing is, these mid-table teams, they got money now as well, innit? So, that's
COVID, I don't know. Certain apparently big clubs are having to sack 55 people with families to sign a Chelsea region. Listen, we don't do them things there. We don't do them things there. But that's all right. Do you know what? I don't know what it says about Dan's talent ID, Jermaine, but this is like a Dan Soft favourites list. Michi Batshuayi.
He's gonna be watching all these players when they leave,
100%. And
gonna buy six shirts.
I buy stocks low, and I'm in there for the long game, right? So I've done this. This is not my first. I had Salah on my CV. Meads was trashing him. I said, look, I'm gonna hang in there. I had Salah, I had KDB, I had Sturridge. All of them, they've come through. So I'm just waiting because
To be fair, I was very much with you on Sturridge. I remember agreeing with you back in the day about him a lot.
Yeah. So I'm hoping. that's one of the reasons I'm excited for them to leave, because I feel like hopefully Barkley and Batshuayi, they're gonna show you some things.
I am leaving the podcast if Batshuayi scores 30 goals at any club. I don't care if he joins Forest Green and scores 30 goals.
30.
I won't be able to fucking
You've set the
deal
bar
with it.
mad high. You've set the bar.
I won't be able to deal
That's
with
how
it.
you can tell that Yas wants to stay.
Yeah, I couldn't be like caught on that, you know. But I enjoy it too much. But yeah. All right, Jermaine, 2 of your faves. Right. And then there's a follow-up question to this. Both of them, keep or sell, Emerson Palmieri, Marcus Alonso, both linked with moves away. Emerson a lot more. I won't lie. Emerson was in the team up until December, January. I've always felt like when he's on form, he's a really decent option, but he's never looked quite happy. But then the agents come out and basically said, nah, he's chilling, like he wants to stay. So I don't know, but he's more linked away. But Alonso does have his links as well. I think the contract's a difficult one to shift there. But if you talk about individual errors and maybe Lampard wanting to up quality, he's vulnerable. So those two.
Yeah, sell them both.
Ooh.
And one of them.
We're going to play a left back, Jermaine. This is what I mean.
No.
We signed one of them 2 weeks later.
No, listen. Not because Emerson I actually like, and I've been a fan of Emerson since last season as well. Like, sorry season, but it's more so just because we know that Emerson's not fancied in it, so he's not going to play. It's like I'll say keep Emerson, and then I'll see Aspie left back. Like, what's the point? So Emerson, unfortunately, he has to be sold. Alonso, sell him, and then obviously you can get someone who you want to play right back in it. You can buy someone who you want. Like, I don't give a fuck if it's Chilwell.
That's what I'm saying. So a lot of this is just get Lampard who he wants. Do you know what I mean?
Guy,
so we're not chopping and changing. Like, get your Rices, get your Chilwells, but we're gonna be onto you.
Yeah.
We're gonna be onto you in the flop. No.
Just before we move on from left back, I'm not like these Twitter people who, as soon as we're linked to a player, I watch a 4-minute video from Football Brazil or Scout Nation and just think that they are the world. Oh, yeah, it's what we need.
The new guy was moving bad today, though.
Sergio Reguilon, I don't know. But apparently he scored a banger v Roma. I didn't watch it because I tried to, only watch Champions League. But I didn't watch it, but apparently he scored a good goal. I know nothing about him. I don't watch La Liga anymore. I find it very, very boring and tedious. Does anyone have any better of a scout report than me on this person that apparently we're linked with? I don't know how good the sources are, so you can educate me on that as well.
Listen, my scout report, is only coming from FIFA, fam. I saw the most Team of the Week cards. That guy was getting Team of the Week cards every week, fam. Like, he was actually killing it. I'm not going to lie. So I know for a fact that he was performing. But I didn't watch him, though, so I ain't going to talk about how he played.
I heard about him from listening to Muga, and they were saying, he's been the best left back in La Liga. And, not just them saying it, now we're linked. That's all I'm hearing. He's been the best left back in La Liga. But don't forget, this is Spanish fullbacks.
I knew you were going to bring that up. I feel like we're 10 years too late. I feel like we saw Spain dominate, and then we signed the generation after, who just are not this Morata, Alonso, Azpilicueta. The only one we managed to snag was Pedro, looking for a nice little last stop. The only thing I'll say, we are linked.
I don't want to be. I remember with the kind of whole Neymar's next Robinho thing. I don't want to just be coloured by what we've seen here. If he's a good player, come in. I don't have the scout report. So let's just see, man.
If anyone does listen and they actually know what he's like and hasn't just watched a clip that I could also watch in 20 seconds, let us know, man. Because ABC, anyone but Chilwell, please.
Yes,
ABC.
I fucking like that.
It's as easy as ABC. Anyone but Chilwell. All right, last couple. Jermaine only wants one left back because he's harsh. Kurt Zouma.
Keep him, man.
So this one interests me because I don't quite understand where he clearly went out of favour, because he didn't play for the longest, but he's looked almost reliable. He can't play out. I saw someone say that he can because he did 3 clips wide. it doesn't count if it's gone over everyone's head and you weren't under much pressure. That's not playing out. That's doing the bare minimum as a pro footballer. But I digress. Okay, he's not the tidiest on the ball, and he has his moments, and can mobility-wise not be great. I think he has got better in the air, but he can lose markers a little bit. But he's our most reliable, if not best. I don't know. That's an argument when you say best, but he's our most dependable centre back. So I don't quite understand. Again, it might be a market thing of you can get P, but what's this? Keep or sell?
I'm keeping 100% because unless we're buying 2 centre backs, I think clear he's our best centre back. I think clearly in the air as well, he's our best centre back. And one of the kind of routes to go for our opposition this season has been crosses. So why, unless we're bringing in 2 bangers, and I just don't understand. Like, we're spending this much money in Havertz. We've already bought Ziyech and Werner. If there's budget for a whole new defence, cool. But if not, why are you selling our best defender?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Because then that leaves you with having to buy, like you said, 2 centre-backs and a left-back. Basically, and a goalkeeper. We haven't even spoken about that yet, but it's like, it's too much.
Why are you raising funds? And if you're selling to raise funds for Zuma, why are you raising funds to buy? Do you know what I mean? Doesn't make sense. Like,
it doesn't.
You raise funds with the shit players, not the best of the options.
But that's the argument, isn't it? It's like you can't, because you want to raise funds with Bakayoko and you get 15 million for him. So I guess the argument is if Zuma might be our best now, but if Lampard doesn't see him as a proper, this is what I want to build my defence around, and you can get 40, 50 million, because I find it strange that the links for Zuma seem relatively solid in that they're sourced in France and they're from solid journalists. And
Do you know what I heard? Apparently Zuma's kind of partly driving it because he said he doesn't like rotation. And allegedly, Rudiger's unhappy with rotation as well. Now, the Rudiger one I can stomach. You
Zuma one's not cool.
But I understand. I don't think defenders are used to being rotated. Do you know what I mean?
No, and this goes back for me for a Lampard thing, which I still don't understand. In that his argument when we highlighted all the rotation, which again made me laugh because the quote came out after we'd been on about it for about a week. So again, boy, listen, Jody, Wagwan. Listen, but and Lampard, it was just like, again, like, I just didn't get it. He came out and he said no top club has a set partnership anymore, and it's just a lie. Like, it's, I don't know what we all have Google. Like, what are you doing, bro? Name me a club and
that face you've just done. That's my face when I saw it. I was like, but you're just lying,
bro. Like, we every club. It's not actually a debate in any form. Every club has the one. And then the 2 who plays 60, 70%, and then the other one, Liverpool, Van Dijk, Gomez, United, Maguire.
And it's just never been a thing as well. The thing is, it's never been a thing. It's never ever been a thing to rotate your centre backs. It's never been a thing in football ever.
Yeah.
This is what leads me to think that the Tomori move to go on loan next season is partly just like, I'm not trying to get involved in those big decisions, because you've got the 4th one going who's looked okay. And then you've got the 3 chopping and changing, and then Tomori was involved in that shake-up early on. It just kind of, it's a weird one because they all want to play. They're all at the prime age where they should be playing. They all have a flaw or 2 or the other. I think it's a weird one, and I think maybe he just wants to clear out, and I guess Zuma might just be a bit of another problem.
Don't forget, we've already got the giant in. We've already got the 6'5" Dutch, the new Van Dijk.
Can't remember the name. Mbuyamba, I think.
Mbuyamba or something like that.
I'm not getting excited about. Do you know why I'm not getting excited about any academy players? Because I think Lampard's had enough of this youth shit after this year. He's fuming, as we can see by some of the signings. But okay. So you both keep Zuma, but what do you think we're gonna do?
I'm gonna sell him, obviously, because we're fucking Chelsea. We do that shit. We sell the players that we need.
I don't know. I think it's too weird for him to be sold. So I'm gonna say we're gonna keep him.
Okay. Notably, Antonio Rudiger's not on this list released by the Times. Again,
no way.
Don't know how
no
valid it is. And again, like, it just seems to be. I get the feeling that Rudiger is his guy almost. Like, okay, there was the drop after the West Ham game, but like Rudiger's played through. But then he talks about individual errors, and the only individual errors in that game were the captain who's played every game, and Rudiger. So surely that's a little nod there. I don't know.
Hey,
but he's not on this list, so we can't debate Rudiger. He's chilling.
We're not even going to debate him. But if Lampard, out of all the things that he's done this season, I will let all of those things fly as long as he gets rid of Rudiger, because that is the biggest criminal decision that he is going to make. Yeah, if he decides to keep Rudiger for next year, for him to be a part of the team moving forward, that's trying to win cups. We are not winning a cup with Rudiger at the back.
So I saw a stat recently, and it looked, I mean, let's put it this way. It's not a popular one. I haven't seen it picked up by a lot of people and used. But it was from some geezer, and he made it really fancy with a graph. The graph didn't seem to actually be needed, but it basically said that Rudiger is excellent, exact words, and our best defender, because we have the best courtside fracas promo here. We had the best plus minus of goals. We essentially had the best goal difference of when he's on the pitch. Now, the reason it's a shit stat is it doesn't, even plus minus in basketball is kind of asterisk, but maybe he is our best centre back and we just can't see it.
Fucking mugging me off, mate. He's shit.
He's not on this list, so he's staying, but apparently Andreas Christensen is on this list. So keep, sell, and what do we get if we sell?
Give me that Ginter brother from Gladbach. Let me just take him, and then you can take.
He's not better. You do know that, innit? Like the
Ginter link. Just try. We need to get rid of these
He's
guys,
shorter, slower, and does less. Like,
I know for sure Jermaine hasn't seen him. I know for sure. Yeah,
and the thing is, I have as well. Like, he's all right. He's all right. I'm not going to sign him. Like, I like Gladbach. I watch Gladbach a lot. He's all right. He's all right. What?
Who's in for Christensen?
Huh?
Who's in for him?
This is the thing. I ain't seen one link, but he's on this list.
There you go. So just try it, then, innit? Just give me.
He's on the list. Would you sell him? So you'd sell him, right?
I probably would sell Christensen, yeah.
Okay. Would you sell him then?
Yeah. So like, because I'm keeping Zuma, I'm selling Chris.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in the games where Rudiger and Zuma do struggle, I'm not trying to be defenders play la 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 la, but that is it's a worry if there are two centre backs because they do both struggle on the ball. Do you think there is a need for someone to partner one of them on the ball, or you think that's fine as it is and that's the least of our priorities, and that would be the first two for you?
I don't like Rudiger. Do you know what I mean? So for me, Rudiger's got to go. Like Rudiger struggles with his feet so much. He struggles with his feet. He gets turned in the feint. Yes, like Zuma can be an eyesore. Chris has got issues against big men, but I just feel like those two. Don't forget, those two are younger, I think, as well. Like, there's more in terms of, they should be more in terms of.
I think Zuma's about a year younger than Rudiger, and Christensen's about 2.
Yeah, man. I think we should just sell Rudiger. And like Rudiger's got to go. We can get rid of Chris too. I think Zuma, just for me, shows the most promise. Get rid of both of those. Bring in 2 more.
Okay. And then we've talked to death about Kepa Arrizabalaga, so we know we want to sell him.
Okay.
Do you think there's any hope we actually move him in any way? Realistically,
it's COVID. People are desperate. We're trying to give away a freebie. Do you know what I mean? So,
but we can't, like, if we do loan him, it's gonna be a big. Like, we can't lose that much money.
Like, show highlights from last season, bro. That's it.
Nah, like, his stock in Spain is still better than De Gea's. Do you know what I mean? We just have to do our best in terms of, we've got, as a community, Chelsea Twitter, we got to create the good videos, the good highlight videos. We got to pump it out there. Do you know what I mean?
I remember last season, even when he was making like a few mistakes as well, because it wasn't perfect last season either, but he become number 1 for Spain, innit?
Yeah.
And I remember they were still, when they were talking about him, they were still talking about him like he was like some top keeper. So
it's weird as well. Like Jermaine and me both kind of had a look at the Europa League final for the Patreon pod last week, and he made a few errors, but I just remember this not being, probably first season you're still feeling him out, but I remember this just not being the discussion at
it
all.
it compounds. It compounds, and
Yeah.
it's the Trent goal, it's the Keita goal. It's always flying in top corner, and it's the not coming out. It's don't forget in corners, yeah. Yes, our defenders can do better, but it's the not coming out and claiming it.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah,
the
yeah.
fact that we've had Czech and Courtois, and it just seems like I still don't
Even
know
before Czech and Courtois, Kudicini's kept us hype, by the way.
Yeah.
And that didn't seem to impact him so much.
Yeah.
Like, he survived the Premier League just fine in an era where it was a lot more physical.
Yeah.
So, I don't know for the guy.
Just such a victim to that top corner, so he's got to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we know he has to, but I can't see. I just can't see how it's a feasible deal.
One of them, like, Spanish names, do you know what I mean?
I just can't see who affords it that can't also afford better. I don't see it as feasible at all.
Don't forget, it's a loan type of thing that I'm thinking of. Like one of
no, 100%. But they're still going to charge, and it's going to be like a $7 million a year. Take 80% of the wages.
The maddest thing is we're hoping, innit? Because like when he goes on loan, we're just hoping that he has a mad season with that team, like a crazy season. Because that's the only way he's going to get bought. You know what I'm saying? He can't have like an average season.
And
you know what I'm saying? He has to go there and be a superstar.
What I was going to say is like, yeah, the Spanish game's different, innit? As a goalkeeper, you're not tested as much in terms of duels, but people still shoot in a top corner in Spain. You know what I mean?
People still shoot on target.
Yeah.
Like my boy was telling me the other day, he was like, "Bruv, you ain't winning shit. It's an open goal." That's how much they're not rating Kepa.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Jamie Carragher I think clearly watched them for one of the first times up close against Liverpool, and he just sounded disgusted. He was like, "They're not winning nothing with this guy, nothing." He was fuming. Last one of these, which is from the Times report on being put on the chop block. And this one is the headline grabber. And I know, Jermaine, you've spoken on this previously. I'm wondering if your opinion has got more consistent or if you've been swayed by Mr. Middleton, N'Golo Kante. And again, like, the fact that he's missed a run-in and a cup final, I just feel like that's even more weight to the argument you've brought to the pod before.
Yeah. Bro, it's such a shit argument. Because like, I love N'Golo, innit? I love N'Golo Kante, but honestly, these injuries, bro, I don't think it's going to be the last time that it hits us hard in a very important time in the season. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, we've got... is he fit for Bayern even on Saturday?
Well, we'll get on to that. He's training, but we don't know details.
He's been training, so yeah, possibility he might not even be playing that game. But it's like, I feel like we're going to have, loads of games next season. We're in the Champions League. We're going to be playing against top sides again. We're going to need him to be 100% fit. Not 70, not 80, not 85, not 90. We need him 100% fit. Because if he's not, he's probably only going to be playing 2 games and he's going to be out for the 3rd and 4th and 5th. And it's like...
I think not only is it the missing big games, it's like you've got a new manager, a young manager who's trying to find his way and his team to play his way. And having to fit Kante into that and then not have him for another 3 weeks and then fit Kante into that and then not have him for another 5.
It's disrupting his process as well.
I almost feel like part of the reason, he would go is just because, do you know what? Yes, he's an amazing player. He's our only probably world-class. He's our only proven world-class player. That's a fact. Sorry. I would argue Olivier Giroud is world-class at certain things. But N'Golo Kante is the only proven world-class player in the squad. But not if he doesn't play. And he's on the highest wage. And he must be, if not 30, nearing. And it's just looking like it compounds, to use Dan's phrase. I don't think I got battered on Twitter for being some like weird anti-racist something or other for suggesting that there was a weird thing going on there, but I do think he gets rushed back, and I don't think, even if you want to take race out of it, I think the reputation doesn't help him, that he can run till he's and personality, even he can run till he's fucked and then he won't complain because it's Kante and he's a humble guy. If he was a bit more of a diva, he'd probably be pulling up early and just say, I'm done for this session or something. I think it's a really interesting one. I think if he was to go, I think it would be brave, but also I get it that Lampard might just be like, you know what? While I'm finding my system and my way, I need players that I can rely on to use. There's a saying that the best ability is availability. And if he's only going to play half the season and you can cash in now as opposed to anywhere else, it's tough because you start him in every final, you start him in every big game. But how do you predict these injuries?
I was going to say, I get the difference, but do you remember when we sold Robben? Mourinho sold Robben because of those reasons. I can't rely on you. You're a great player, and that's the issue. Because when you come in, I start building my team around you, but then you can't stay fit. And I just feel like Jermaine's saying, yeah, when he's fit, you have to play him, but it doesn't mean you have to build a team around him. If you know that he's injury prone, then you can still build a team around him and then have him and just explain to Kante, look, we can't build a team around you because you haven't shown a level of fitness. And I just think because he's getting older as well, then for me, it makes it, especially, look, Lampard's got to kind of persuade him. He's got to be the salesman. But if I can say to him, like, listen, we don't want you to keep on getting injuries, so we're going to protect you. You're not the infallible N'Golo Kante that can just be put out there without getting injuries and that can run. So what we're going to do is we're going to protect you. You're going to have a reduced role, but in the important games, you're going to play.
Yeah.
I think that...
And also, I think, for what it's worth, when these links for Kante came out previously, Kante seems to just want to... He's happy, as far as the reports suggest. He's happy. He wants to stay. He loves the club. He loves living in London. He probably loves £300,000 a week.
Lampard is always coming out questioning it too.
Yeah, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, Dan, in that it's a test of management to just make him the most effective and use him as just a fourth guy and an option in the biggest games. And it's sad that it's potentially, we don't know, he could have a perfect season, but potentially come into that. But I guess it's just the life cycle of a player.
The problem is the P, though, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the thing. But then I guess it's just one of those things where
he's earned it already from his past that he's done.
Yeah, but not even that. It's just like you're a top club and trophies get won on fine margins. And okay, you might get 30 million euro, 40 million euro for Kante, but you get what, 80 for winning the Champions League. It's like over 3 seasons. Maybe it's just, if you have a player of that class on his day, it's just not worth the fee. Obviously, that's offset by the money we are spending. So that's where I think the question comes in. But it's an interesting one. Just last comment, keep or sell and N'Golo Kante. No more.
I'm keep.
Yeah, I'm going to keep him as well. Still.
Yes. What about you, bro? You
no, I'd keep Kante just for that reason. In that, like, I think I do think football is very much a business. I do think it's very important to balance the sheets and stuff, unless you're City. I think it is important, but at the same time, it's like you have this player, you know this player, you can rely on this player, he's happy at the club. When you play him, he still can occasionally just decide games defensively. And like, okay, what, 35 million? Okay, over 5 years, 4 years, 3 years at Chelsea Football Club is
cool. It's like,
whatever, man. Just sell another academy.
Look at the team they're building as well now. Like, you would want Kante to be around, innit?
Definitely, man. And you need, like, I don't think it helps to sell more experience as well. Yeah. That's another thing. Just moving on now, we will get into Bayern, which is coming up very, very soon, next Wednesday or Tuesday.
Saturday, isn't it?
Saturday. Wow, I'm off with the... As I said, I'm a basketball guy now.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying. I don't have an excuse though, because I don't have another sport to jump to. You know what I'm saying? At least you can cheat on football.
Listen, there's a management boardroom triangle of Cop and Fracas, Chessy Hour, and Make United Great Again that are collaborating in a way I never thought they could, considering the differences. And I'm too deep into that for the basketball podcast right now. But it's coming soon anyway. This is very much the last pod before it. Little bit of news on it just before we sort of go into that game, starting with a preview of the last leg. Obviously, my background on the pod today is just to make me feel a bit better, really, about the last time that we had some good news against them. Chelsea have added a bunch of young men to the squad, to the Champions League B list that they can call up in the case of any more irresponsible injuries. Ian Matson, Daniel Simiyu, centre-back, Henry Lawrence, Lewis Bate and Armando Broja are, they're ready, available. I imagine they've been training very much with the squad. Obviously, Armando Broja is featured for the first team. Lewis Bate, who was called up to the FA Cup final squad after Billy Gilmore's injury. Ian Matson, who we've seen previously. Henry Lawrence and Simiyu is really their sort of first involvement to that level, it seems like. Just to go through the squad, because I can't lie, I don't care about this game. I wish we weren't even playing it. I wish there was like if you're 3 down, you don't have to show up. I wish that as a club, we just forgot about it and focused solely on the next season. Just because we have no Pulisic. Willian is already half in red. Werner and Ziyech can't take part despite being training with us now for a few weeks. Jorginho misses through suspension. We have no Azpilicueta, who's been very, very good since the restart. Who else? I know there's even more. Who else?
Alonso, innit?
Is Alonso out or is he suspended?
I think he's suspended, which is perfect. That's fine.
So no Alonso. So I can't even quite work out the team. Really, it's going to be.
The team might be better, bro. I was thinking about this today.
So if you remember last season, I think in the Europa, sometimes I was watching and thinking this team is better. And towards the back end of last season, those Europa players started to come in. And so, we might see that again. The team.
Well, we're against Bayern Munich in the Allianz and not Dynamo Kiev or whoever the brass we were playing on a Thursday night.
Hey, listen,
but,
that's building optimism, bro. This is what we need.
But thank you. Yas put that back down real quick.
I mean, look, they haven't played for a little while. Maybe I don't know. That's all I've got. Kovacic had a knock after the final. He fit though.
I think he's fit, yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, at least we got one midfielder. So
we got Kante, bro. He's there.
Oh yeah, well this is the thing. Kante's training. They've said he's training. I don't know exactly how fit he is. And again, bruv, can you fucking imagine if this guy comes on and gets a knock? I'll lose my shit, bruv. Like it's so. I know you shouldn't say it at Chelsea. I know, big club, big mentality, but bruv, it's COVID season. Don't worry. Like next year is another year. We got top 4. We'll go again. Yeah. Anyway, there is a game to be played. I would love it if I'm wrong, but yeah. Anyway, I'd love it if. Do you know what? I don't even want to get into a whole tired season and tired players over a summer for next year because it's just going to be a disaster.
Yes, quickly. You make a good point because we all remember the RLC game, and that game was pointless. Do you know what I mean? So if we get a big injury from one of these games, we don't want to spend next season saying the Bayern game. Do you know what I mean?
Bruv, the Ruben Loftus-Cheek game has set the guy's career back 2 years.
100.
And, like, we all saw, okay, that was for a good cause. Disclaimer, yeah, cool, great. Fucking stupid. We had a final. Anyway. Again, moving on to the first leg. It's interesting watching it back because so much has changed since then. And I think the biggest takeaway, all in our memory, we had it really down as a slapping. I can't speak for everyone, but I watched it back, and yes, we were against a better team, so we played like we were against a better team, and shock, the better team had a bit better of the game, but we seem to have just lost that game in 3 minutes due to a bit of quality, but not just quality on their end, mistakes on ours. What was your takeaway?
So my thing is, I remember that the whole fan base had buy-in that we should be playing 3-4-3 because the game before we played Spurs in a 3-4-3 and we did well. But my take from that game is just we couldn't keep up with them. We couldn't keep up with their PMP in terms of just simple 1-2s. Both of the Lewandowski and Gnabry partnership, it was just Gnabry doing a 1-2 and then just running and no one could keep up with him. It's like Alphonso Davies just not being able to keep up with him. And so
I don't think a lot of that really showed itself till the second half. It did to a point, but I think they played down the right a bit more first half from what I saw.
but maybe that just comes in part of what we said before in terms of we start and we have intensity, then it drops off and it kind of kicks in because. But what I will say is definitely we need to, like we said about the Arsenal final, we need to like embrace a little bit more patience because against Bayern, don't forget this is away. At home, they showed us like obviously the first half. Credit to us watching it again. We didn't fold. It wasn't a slapping from the get-go. We had our chances. We just wasn't clinical. But I think we need to try to take into next season because I always remember Alex Ferguson didn't do well in the Champions League for a long stretch. And he kind of looked back on it and he made a decision to start changing from 4-4-2 to 4-3-3. And it wasn't just about formations, but he just said, you can't be aggressive in the Champions League. You've got to be a lot more patient. You can't just try to win it in the Champions League. And I know Mourinho has always said, just stay in the first leg. Don't try to.
Which is the same with the cup final. You're essentially playing 2 cup finals in these knockout games, right?
Yeah. So stay in it. So obviously, look, it's lost. There's nothing to stay in, but it will be a good kind of dress rehearsal, I think, for next season. Even though we've got injuries, I think for Lampard, it's a good way to try to say, okay, let me try to apply my lessons in this Champions League fixture, and let's not come away with a slapping. Let's try to be a bit more patient, and then just kind of, obviously, you can't help it in terms of personnel, but try and be a bit more clinical and take our chances. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Like it's almost like a free shot. No one cares, like we said.
Mm-hmm.
But Lampard could use it as an exercise, I think.
What was your takeaways?
I don't know, man. I was watching like the first half before you come on the pod, and I was just looking at a few of the times when we got through on goal and that, like with Mason Mount, there was a few bits of good play with Giroud and that. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? If that's Hudson on the right, wait, hear me out. Hey, listen, remember, Cho's our guy, you know.
Remember I said you were dipping the toe.
He's still a very, very good player. So
he's
like,
a good player. I don't necessarily think he is the difference in the games.
No, he might not be the difference, but what I'm saying is Alphonso Davies was like finding it very easy to. He gave Mount like a good 10 yards in front of him, and he still could catch him.
He picked him up like a nanny. He picked him up like a child running away, and a nanny came after him.
It's like, and the thing is, I'm saying if we have bits of play like that, and it's Hudson getting through, I think it's a different story because Hudson's rapid, isn't it?
Are you saying?
Yeah, no, I hear you, but then there's the whole. Like I think 2 of those chances in the whole game, maybe not the first half, come from Mount and intercepting a pass. So yeah, it's a lot of.
He'll still be on the pitch though. He'll be on time.
Exactly.
So it's Barkley you want off. I don't know how Dan's gonna feel about that one.
How did we move on to Barkley? How did we move on?
Well, he's the other. Hold on. If Mount's still gonna be on the pitch and Hudson's on, then that's Barkley.
Don't forget we don't have a midfield. But one thing I will say is don't forget William.
I'm gonna be honest. Go on, sorry.
No, I was going to say, obviously, William didn't start that game, and it made sense because the Spurs game, we did well, but we definitely need a bit of Joe. We need a bit of what Joe likes. We definitely need a bit of pace and power in there, just because...
You know what? I thought that on the first watch, right? Yeah. And I thought that up until rewatching it, and you know what? You look at... They're very, like, you can see as a team, they're very well conditioned and they're very strong. Like Lewandowski is he's almost like a beanpole, very strong centre forward. And yeah, they've got Coman, who's a very quick player. Davies got all the headlines for Birdie and Reece James, which actually on the rewatch reaffirmed what I initially thought, that it was actually more about matchups and triangles than just a foot race. I don't think Reece James had a good game at all, but I don't think it was that simple. But Davies, Coman, cool, P&P.
Gnabry.
Do you know what? Yeah, he's quick, but I think that's not his define. He's good, like technically and clever. I don't see him as P&P default. Like
I don't think P&P is just like you're only that. But what I'm saying,
no, but I think that's when it's said as like, especially by Joe, it's said as almost like a defining characteristic a lot. My main point really is you got people there like Thiago, like Kimmich, like Muller, who is the anti-P&P. He's you know what? Down there with Jorginho in and I don't think he's the physical. Yeah, the conditioning was very good, and they have quite athletic players. But for me, just to really dig deep on it, I think they moved the ball
Quick.
with such speed and such purpose, and just the flight of it from Boateng, from Alaba, from Thiago, from even Pavard over there at right back, like Gnabry, and the speed of the combinations with Lewandowski. They're just so well drilled into, I wouldn't even call it drilling. I think a lot of it seems to be chemistry work and just knowing where the other players are. But the fizzes from the back, they went straight through the midfield. I think Jorginho and Kovacic, when it was within their area, they did okay at defending it. But when they had like so many balls that just like, boom, bypass, those two gone. And it was a front four against a back three. And then you've got all this, whatever. But it was just quality. Just, they were, but they were just tactically excellent. They moved the ball with such purpose and precision, but they were very, very direct as well. That it wasn't, again, like a lot of people talk about losing the midfield when we play the 3-4-3 because there's a 2 there. And I think some games that is very, very true. I was surprised this was not one of those games because for me, apart from Thiago picking it up once or twice through them, he was mainly sending it wide, being patient, and it was just getting zipped through them from miles away. It was just bypassed. They were excellent. They were so, so good. But at the same time, throwing games away, mentality, panicking, patience, all those words, because in a 4-minute sequence, Jorginho gets booked for dissent and the whole team are enraged. They score their first. 3 minutes later, they score their second and the game's done. Like, it was just that management, that patience, that experience. And I think that's the big difference for me.
So what I'd say is, and it might be, if we go back to Sarri, I know people don't want us to mention Sarri, but
I don't mind mentioning Sarri.
Yeah,
I'm very happy for Maurizio. He won Serie A against one of the best Inter teams of years with a terrible Juventus squad. Hang tight, Maurizio. I know we're going to lose 150 followers. Menakir, I love the guy. He's legend.
But what I was going to say about Sarri is that his whole thing was he expected us to be more like that towards the end of the season in terms of knowing where people are without even having to look. You mentioned Lewandowski kind of knowing where Gnabry was and vice versa. I think that when we're constantly switching formations, it's a bit more difficult for us to do that, switching formations, switching personnel. But I also think that, they had slower players on the inside, but they had PMP on the outside. And that's the most important. That's the most important place to have it. So when I talk about having PMP, I'm talking about more having it on the outside.
Yeah, and I mean, if you're offering me a quick left back who can handle physical contact over Alonso, of course I'm taking it.
Emerson.
Or even Emerson. But I just felt like I kind of went into that game expecting to see people ragdolled, and to be honest, that's Champions League quality. They didn't even need to get close because the ball was just moving so quick. The only real like boom physical used was Davies down that left, and Coman with a few 1-2s around Rudiger that left him miles away from where he should have been. But
this time it will be interesting though, because there's 3 positions where I do think it will make a huge difference if they play. I think Aspie, as good as a defender as he is, I think he's shown so many times this season that he's struggled with proper pace, like lightning quick pace. Yeah. And, that was evident again. That will be different because if we play 3 at the back again, it will be someone quick because we only have quick centre-backs, funnily enough. We got Christensen, Rudiger, Zuma, they're all decent in terms of pace. You've got left wing back. It won't be someone slow and brain dead like Alonso who can't defend to save his life. So you've got that changing, and then midfield. Like I feel like if it's Kova and Kante, and I know we've criticised them at times, sometimes like in games, they don't look the best in terms of chemistry.
Kovacic had a good first leg, by the way.
Very good.
Yeah, he had a good first leg, and if he's got Kante there, and Kante comes in and he performs the way we know he can perform, and then you have someone with pace to get at their defence in terms of with Hudson, and then you've got Mount working as well. All of a sudden, it looks like it don't really look like a bad team, and that's what I'm saying. Like, you give us opportunities. I think if you give us a couple of opportunities and we take them chances,
Yes,
it could
shoot him down,
all of a
please.
sudden
Yes,
be a
shoot Jermaine down.
I think we're
it's true though.
still.
It works like
I
that.
think we're still gonna treat it as a free shot because I think even the management probably expects that. Like, if I'm honest, I just don't think they want the headache with the next leg, even if they
Yeah.
got through. I'll be real. Like, you already heard Lampard asking
Yeah.
for a delay. Like, we
Yeah.
don't want the headache.
Yeah.
If you're not one of the favourites in these European tournaments, just bust out. Like, it's not. No one will have a go. You got a whole new season. Just go plan for that. Look after your players. Like, don't worry in it. So I think they are seeing it as a free shot. But I think it will be good experience if Hudson-Odoi does come in. If Mount has even more responsibility than he usually does. If we are to get a fit Kante, that would be good. Giroud now is in a much better moment within the team than he was in Feb when he just sort of only just fucking got out of Lampard's
Exactly.
blocked list or whatever you call it. I don't know. I think it's an interesting game, but if I'm completely honest, I'm not expecting a whole lot. I'm just gonna enjoy it, look at a few individuals, see how they handle it. But yeah, I'm not expecting a whole lot. I think what I'm more interested in, and we won't spend too long on this because I know we're going to do a separate podcast, but just to finish the pod this week up, is having looked back at that game and seen one of the premier sides in Europe, because this season's Bayern have been very good since Hans Flick took over from Kovac. Having looked at one of the premier sides in Europe up close, with the signings that we've made in Werner and Ziyech, and the Havertz signing, which although very much delayed, and it's a bit hit as well with him advancing in the Europa League, still all these journalists seem to think it's still happening. What needs to change? Will these players bridge a gap? And I guess just how far off it are we really, and how do you see this looking in Lampard's time here?
Lewandowski has been one of the most prolific strikers in Europe, and it's a big testament to Werner that he's anywhere near him. What I always say is that a firing striker does you wonders. It does you wonders, and I feel like for the past few seasons, our starting striker, I couldn't really say at the top of the season that they'll be, come the end of the season, they'll be up there chasing for the Golden Boot. I couldn't, there was no hope. Starting with Morata, I've never been a Morata bandwagon. Obviously, we had him for 2 seasons. Ever since Costa left, I haven't had that hope. And
just on that one, just to back that point, I mean, the Tammy getting 15 goals in the league is good, but what was more worrying about that stat is that he was the first person not called Costa to do it since 2011, and then Drogba got it in 2010. Hazard got a few penalties, but like Costa aside, we haven't had one for 10 years, essentially.
Exactly. And so if you look at Leicester this season, when Vardy was scoring, he was like, Leicester was the third best team, and then Vardy fell off. And you look at Kane this season, he's not been able to be firing, and obviously we don't see Spurs. I just feel like obviously the last time we won the league, we had a striker that put fear in defenses constantly. Now, I know more than anyone else, Costa dropped off, but he would score 20 goals before he dropped off. Do you know what I mean? So I think that Werner, forget about, like with Lampard, you can't really predict what the formation is going to be, what the personnel is going to be. So there's so many different things. But I definitely think if Werner can come in and have a similar type of form that he has had in Germany, that's going to do us wonders. So that's one thing. Havertz, Havertz, as Yas would say, Yas knows this as well. A lot of the time, the first half of the season, he doesn't seem to do well. He seems to do well come second half of the season. The only thing is, like, are you going to get that running start with Lampard, or is he going to put you in a freezer? Do you know what I mean? So with Havertz, the fact that he's so young, the fact that he's coming from another league, the fact that his style is a lot different to what we expect in the Premier League. He's someone that kind of jogs around and finds spots. He might get a little bit of criticism, so I'm not going to put too much on him. Ziyech, I think, is a very Lampardish type player in terms of he's not really patient. He just wants to shoot or score, but we need
spirit.
Yeah, we need a bit of that. We need a bit of that because like in the Bayern Munich game, like we need something just to get us back in the game. And I think we've missed a little bit of that since Hazard. So attacking change is all good, but it's like, I need to know, are we going to settle down with a normal back four? We've played the field already. You know, we've had our time. Let's just settle down in terms of back four. Is Lampard going to be so agitated? I feel like he's so... I call him a button basher, and that's not... It's negative. I'm not going to lie.
I haven't heard you use that one before.
It's negative, but I just feel like it seems like...
don't know the moves, bro. The man that don't know the finishes.
It seems like, okay, cool. We've used one formation for 5 games. That's the information. Then the next 5 games, that's the next formation. And it just seems like... doesn't seem like it's a plan, a long-term plan. It seems like we're moving from just what's hot, like very much. So I think we're making the right type of signings, but it's all going to be about the implementation.
Yeah, I think in terms of the attack, similar to Dan, like I do think the caliber of signing is perfect in terms of like Ziyech, Werner. Personally, for me, I just want to be threatening again. Like every time I've watched Chelsea more time, even like before Roman, like I just remember us, even with our attackers, we're always like some kind of threat. We've always got some kind of threat, like Hasselbank, Johnson, all them guys. Like they didn't really take them for dickheads. Do you get what I'm saying? And I feel like our attack right now, I feel like nobody even cares. Like that's what I feel like when we go into games. Yeah, bro. Like we're going into games, and I feel like West Ham are looking at us like, this Willian Don, he's just gonna do his thing on that side.
I think where I agree with you is where I see it like almost like opposite what I said about Lampard. When people go a goal up against us, they're like, all right, they're done.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's my biggest thing for next season is I feel like people know about Ziyech, people know about Werner. They're not going to be coming up against Chelsea and be like, oh God, this is going to be like, we can sit back, we can chill against this side. You know, like they're going to be very, like, I feel like they're going to be in two minds of what to do against players like that. And then you add players that we've already got, like your Pulisic's and your Chos, and obviously Havertz if he comes. Bro, I just don't see a lot of teams being able to deal with our attack next season. Even if they've got a plan. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, that's how good I think the players are coming in. But with the defence, I feel like it's still very important that we sort out the defence and the goalkeeper. But I think a major
and the midfield and the striker and the
I feel like
and
a
the
major
sports
thing
scientist and the set piece coach and
all of that. But I think one of the major things I say about the defence is that a lot of people I don't think pick up on is that we've also conceded a lot of goals because it kind of ties in with us not being threatening and us being very easy to kind of attack against as well. So like people gain confidence against us, attacking the Alonsos, attacking the Aspies. As much respect as I've got for Aspie, like I said, he's losing his legs a bit. So when you get more confidence in attacking the teams, you start to throw more players forward and you start to...
Well, I mean, this is what we said about the confidence they had on that left side of Arsenal. They were like, you know what, we're just going to go. And the reason I linked that when that point was made to Bayern is because I've always been a big fan of the overloads and the natural kind of advantages of space that a 3-4-3 can give people. Yeah. Or 3-5-2, whatever you want to do. What I found so striking about Bayern was just how they set up, because they were so confident of Alaba and Boateng being able to handle any longer passes and just get straight back into play. And because they were so confident of Davies being able to recover, and be so confident of Kimmich just being the most disciplined, clever player. I fucking love that guy. He's so good at everything. But because they're so confident of those 3 or 4, they just pinned the back 5 back so often where it was just at 4, just hiding behind the midfield. And then it's like, that's why those direct passes was such a mad thing, because you've got Lewandowski, Muller, the space invader himself, Gnabry, and Coman all literally standing in the gaps of that back 5.
Yeah.
And it's because, we can go pin them, and it's bravery. And I think Lampard's got that bravery and that idea without maybe some of the know-how, but also just the quality. So
And the question was about Europe as well, wasn't it? Like, it was about like how we would see him in Europe. And I was talking even from a Premiership point of view, but like from Premier League point of view.
But it's the same thing, isn't it?
In Europe, they don't even sit back like that. So when we're going to play teams with those kind of players and they're trying to play us, like, I feel like Chelsea, we could have a lot of joy next season in Europe. I don't think teams are going to play like your Newcastles and your West Hams, where you chill back and you wait for the counter.
Well, I mean, Ziyech can find a pass from 40 yards. Werner can find a run, and
there you go. Yeah,
and then hopefully Hudson-Odoi and Pulisic hopefully is fit and carries on his form. Hopefully Hudson-Odoi is in a place where he convinces the manager of his worth and puts a string of games together. And hopefully people like Mount grow. Hopefully some Havertz comes in, and I think I've mentioned it before, and Dan knew what I was on about Benitez's blanket. It's just you can't do both. You have to go or you have to sit, and it's only if you're good enough at one of the two that you can get anywhere. But I do think it'll be very interesting when we do this podcast on Europe, just to talk about these tactical trends and how we're going to fit in them, because it's the players is half of it, and then it's just how they fit together. Boys, long one tonight, but it was a lot to discuss with Champions League impending and FA Cup just finishing, which I will just now forget about because who cares? COVID, isn't it? I'm still fuming. Next week, same time, always Chessy Hour. Throughout the summer, as we did during the lockdown, no football will be no problem. We will be delivering the regular content as possible. Usual little reminder, which I keep forgetting to do at the beginning, but that's just because I'm keen to get into it and chat about the club. If you want to support what we're doing, if you're a fan of what we're doing, you can support us as a patron. So if you hop onto patreon.com/Chessy Hour. Summer is a great time actually for us because we're going to sit down and just discuss all of the content that we are going to share, whether it be interviews, merchandising, contests, giveaways, everything like that. But also it just allows us to improve what you're already enjoying and give away more content in terms of the FA Cup final previews that we did, the Court of Agenda stuff, some more analysis in more detail, looking at trends that maybe people don't notice. And really, really excited to kick this on for next season. It's been a year of growth as much for us as it has for Lampard. Although I don't know who's come further, to be fair. I'd like to think we've done better. But yeah, listen, peace. Boys, thanks for joining again. I'll see you both next week, yeah?
Perfect. Cheers.
Nice one.
All right, nice one. I think that was a good one. I'll wrap it up and I'll try and do it tonight.
Cool, man.
Right,
yeah, it was good. I don't know how long we talked, though. It was long, wasn't it?
But it wasn't. There's sometimes I'm doing a long one and it feels long. Even though I could appreciate it was long, it was interesting. So I think it'll be a good one.
When did we start properly?
Probably like 9:30, or maybe 20 past. So it's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Decent. All right, man. Cool. Nice one, man.
Nice one, fellas.
Safe.
When I spit bars in a rave, man, I go hard like Stanton.